No way you thought I forgot. We are back. It is a big day today. Not only are kids back in school, which thank God, I praise you, Jesus, for that. But it is a big birthday day for one Mr. Gregory Miller. Gregory, 48 today. How does it feel, my friend?
I'll tell you, David, I think I've entered that stage in life. I'm officially middle aged. Like I was saying on my show today, like I haven't gained an ounce of wisdom, but I've gained a little bit of perspective. Like I'm becoming aware of the fact that I'm aging very rapidly on a physical level and not maturing much at all on a mental level. And it's a fun stage of life. I can't lie.
It is weird how we got here because I remember back in the day, and I've said it over and over, that if you were to tell me somebody was 48, I'd be like, well, that guy probably, he's smart, got everything going for him. He knows he's, setting his ways and this and that. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. And I feel like I should be more prepared for life at this age because I'll be 48 coming up soon, but I am not. But I think that just makes me, like you said, perspective. It makes me realize that we're just getting by to getting by. We all just doing the best we can. Ain't nobody got it completely figured out.
I think it leads you to one of either two conclusions. Either we were misinformed and the generations before us were just as clueless as we are and they just faked it and we just thought that by the time somebody was 50, they had their shit together. Or they really did, and we are just lost souls because of what this world has thrown at us, and we have seen the best days, and the past is yet to be relived.
I like to hope that it's the first one, but not the latter. But let's be honest, it's probably the latter. That's probably is the case. This is Common Sense Superheroes. We got a whole lot more to cover other than just Greg's birthday, but this is episode number 49. I am your host, David, and across from me, the birthday one is Mr. Gregory Miller. Greg, before we get started, number 49, I got one that that I think about. You got any off the top of your brain? Tough number. It's an
Uh,
odd number.
I remember Chris Sale was 49 with I got one.
Okay.
I got one because it's a guy that even with a still somewhat busted shoulder from a recent dislocation, I'm going to go with left-handed pitcher Jamie Moyer because I think with a
Ooh.
bum shoulder, I can still get more MPHs than Moyer could.
I mean, he was not exactly bringing the old heat towards the end of his career, which played into his 40s. I feel like every time he turned around, he was playing.
I think he played till he was damn near my age.
Yeah, I did not know that Jamie Moore was number 49, but yeah, I'm with you. Must have had some hella good stuff at some point because there's no way you pitched that long throwing a good 83 miles an hour or whatever it was.
The only reason I remember Jamie Moyer because that was the first answer that popped into my head back when I was asked if you could face one major league pitcher confidently, who would it be? I would dig in against Jamie Moyer and have no concerns. Now, I'm not saying I'd get a hit or do anything good, but I'm saying I would not be afraid to
Would
dig
not
in against
have the
Jamie Moyer.
fear against somebody like Paul Skeens or Mazeroski or whatever for the Brewers. My 49 is one that, when you come up, you're watching sports, you always try to find somebody with your name and you kind of lean towards them. You're like, okay, well, that guy's got my name somewhat. Not necessarily the David part, but Dennis Smith for the Denver Broncos, safety. Ronnie Lott type had a big old neck brace on, would come up and just blast you back when he was playing, buddy. I was a big Dennis Smith fan. I think he went back to Tecmo Bowl because I'd see D. Smith up there, and I was like, that's me. So
I think
Tecmo Bowl in that.
I think there was another Smith who may have been a slightly more successful athletic career. I think Lee Smith, closer, was number 49, if I remember correctly.
Well,
Lee Smith had some good years as a dominant closer.
If that is the case, then yes, you are correct. And apparently a son of a bitch, like apparently just a mean old hungry guy, but was a hell of a closer back when closers was a new thing somewhat. It was basically him and Dennis Eckersley. What number was Dennis Eckersley? That 49 sounds like a closer number.
Eck was somewhere in the 40s, I believe. But Lee Smith was one of those guys that if there's an image you could associate with a closer, I think Lee Smith was that. Like, every guy now coming in the ninth throws 98 plus, but back then, man, Lee Smith was a big old brother that came in and he was touching high 90s. And like you said, I think he had some reported issues with some anger management, and that dude looked pissed off from the
Yeah.
moment he stepped on the field.
But tell you what, you're not going to do is charge the mound on him because that's a big fella. Even for a pitcher, you're like, I don't want to chance that. Speaking of pitchers, before we get into the whole era, actually, before we get into sports in general, Greg, it's your birthday weekend, my friend. It is a birthday weekend, number 48. I'm sure Miss Haley has good plans for you. And if you're like me, those plans meaning for me, just like, let's just chill. But what is the big plans this weekend? I know one thing tomorrow or Sunday is going to be tough. So anything
Yeah,
tonight?
actually, and if and I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole on a potential negative subject, but yeah, Sunday we're moving Bailey into Athens. We're supposed to be headed down to the beach after that, but just got word my 96-year-old grandmother has recently had a couple of minor strokes. She seems to be stable. Everything seems to be good, but at 96 years old, there ain't nothing minor at all. So, despite the birthday wishes, we've got some birthday plans that we're looking forward to. A little time down at the beach after getting Bailey moved in, but I'm my bigger thoughts right now are just praying that my grandmother can get through this because at 96 years old, man, you just anytime you get some news, you're always worried it's going to be the worst.
You do. And boy, let me tell you, she won. When you reach to the age of 96, you won. You did it. Somebody was smiling down upon you because we'd all take 96 right now. If you could sign off on 96 right now, I think I'd take it. But God be with her as she goes through that tough time because, like you said, there's a hangnail at 96 is rough. So a
Well,
stroke
I'll
is
tell you,
even
dude,
more so.
we just got to spend some time with her up at the lake house on July 4th, and you know it's a special thing when you get to spend some time around somebody who has seen that much of life, and you know it goes back to what we were just talking about. If you spend any time with her, it'll make it pretty obvious that they just don't make them like that anymore, brother. That generation they're just better people than we were. Their priorities are better. Their perspective is better. They understood what was important. And I give a shout out to my grandmother, Elaine Stampley. She's almost 100 years old, and that woman is absolutely the epitome of what a matriarch of a family should be.
Something else. Well, my prayers are with her as she goes through this and the family. And wonderful Miss Linda. She did something right, raising a woman like your mama. So you've been blessed with cars, mama and grandmamas, for damn sure.
Yeah,
Speaking
that's a
of
fact, brother.
speaking of blessed, what is that lovely, lovely hat on top of your head there?
That is I'm representing one of our three followers, David.
Hey,
We may be up to five or six by now, but our good buddy Jake Ray, Jake and I started kind of chatting a little bit because he and I would pick on you on some of your social media stuff, and then I found out Jake was listening to this show and he listens to my show, and I told him he posted something online, somebody wearing one of these lids, and I told him I would gladly rep one on the Common Sense Superheroes and on my show if he'd send me one, and lo and behold, old Jake Ray sent me a hat, some koozies, a sticker, a brilliant little thank you card, and reached out to me and said the cool thing is, Dave, I don't even think Jake knew it was my birthday coming up. But this is my birthday present from Jake Ray of Jake's Pool Service. And like I said on my show yesterday, if you're in the North Georgia area and you have a pool, this is your dude. Anything pool related or grill related, because my man's about to start a podcast in the fall talking about pools and backyard barbecues and all kind of good stuff.
I don't know how Jake got Tate Fletcher to get one of his hats, that exact hat that you're wearing. But Tate Fletcher, former UFC fighter, and I guess he's been in a couple movies now, acting, Mandalorian, John Wick, and all that. But it's footage of him on a podcast wearing the Jake's Pool Service hat. So kudos. Jake is just a saintly of a man. You could not ask for a better neighbor, and a good thing that this is the reason why. One of the several reasons that's the case. I was sitting at the house the other day just chilling. I get a text like, "Hey, you want some ribs?" It's like, "Well, yes, I do, sir." Not just ribs, beef ribs. And Jake is a smoking meat extraordinaire. And I roll out back, and he hands me just a couple, like 3 or 4 big old beef ribs. He's like, I've been just trying out this new grill, trying to get it set in, or new smoker. So I got a few test ones, and let me know what you think. And I was like, it was delicious, obviously. But more than once, I've been able to just go to my backyard and grab meat from a neighbor, and that's a good feeling. It's nice.
Tell you what, I don't know Jake well. I hope to get to know him as you and I continue to do this show and maybe help him with his show or whatnot. But yeah, I've always felt like I get a pretty good read on people pretty early in my relationship with them. And the one thing I say, Jake strikes me as the kind of guy. I bet that guy is an absolute hustler. I bet he don't half-ass nothing. I bet if Jake does something, Jake does it the right way. Jake is committed and all in. He strikes me as someone not like myself who tends to half-ass everything. But I bet I don't know why Jake just puts off that vibe. I bet Jake's a grinder and a hustler.
He is definitely a grinder in the summertime, or especially the beginning and end of it, because he's those pools. Somebody's got to open them up. Somebody's got to close them up. Somebody's got to take care of him, and he's pretty much a one-man show when it comes to that. So he works his butt off in that. But in his spare time, he's taking the smoking meat, and it is just fantastic. I'm a big advocate of it. I love it. Get to take advantage of it all the time. And he has a show coming up. He wants to start a YouTube show like Backyard Barbecue. I don't know if he's even got a name with it yet, but he's got some equipment he's wanting. I was like, hey, buddy, do it. There's a lot of people out there that I watch routinely pop up on making meat and all that. I know you're more entertaining and better than. So kudos to him. I hope he does do that. And it kind of hurt my feelings because as I had that beef ribs that he brought, my oldest son Lawton grabbed it and took a bite of it and was like, man, he's like, well, first off, no offense, which obviously offense is coming. He said, Cooper, which is Jake's stepson and my neighbor, he's like, Cooper's so lucky to have Jake to be able to make, he just gets to eat all this meat all the time. I'm like, well, okay, you little son of a, I was like, okay, be that way. But I agreed. I agreed.
You can always count on your kids to give you a dose of humility, even when you don't need it. I look forward to Jake getting his show off to a start. But you and I've been talking a lot about trying to get together, maybe do a live remote somewhere where we we need to get Jake cooking some barbecue for us and working up that grill while you and I do a live remote, and we can two birds, one stone, so to speak.
Working our way getting there. We're hoping 2027 is going to be a big year for us. Hopefully, with the kids going back to school, we can get a little more consistency. It's hard when they're all sitting at home, but we're ready to take this thing to the next level, as they say. And Jake if he does not have a negative that I can find, but he is a Cowboys fan. He's a big Dallas Cowboys fan.
He
has a rough one.
He clearly has poor taste in entertainment if he's listening to us.
Yeah, that too. But he is a Cowboys fan along with Tyler Carlton. And if I'm not mistaken, I recently saw that the Cowboys are up for sale for $13 billion, or did I just make that up in my head?
I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they are the most valuable franchise out there right now.
That has to be the number in that ballpark. But when you get to $13 billion, who's buying it? Who's buying that?
Not the common sense superheroes.
I'm not affording it. I know that. Let's see if the Cowboys.
We're going to need a few more sponsorships other than just Jake's pool service.
One or two more, to say the least. Are the Cowboys for sale? Let's see here. Dallas Cowboys franchise is not for sale, but recently announced he is open to selling a minority equity stake. Okay. Well, I don't know. That's what I get for listening to other shows, but the $13 billion could be that. Speaking of $13 billion and a bunch of money, and basically going to shut down the whole league, Tarek Skubal, who we were praying, I was anyways, would come to Atlanta. It seemed like all but a done deal. Nope. Since we've been gone, he has gone to the Dodgers, Greg. The Dodgers, who have an embarrassment of riches. It's insane the amount of deferred money that they got is upwards of $1 billion in deferred money.
Well, as someone who rarely has a hard time formulating an opinion on things, I got to tell you, this is something I'm not sure how to feel. I mean, on one hand, look, I'm a free market capitalist to the core, and they're doing it within the rules. They're doing it. They play by the same rules. Everybody has the same equal opportunity to do. I get the market share, and I get that they have some advantages, but that's life, brother. Like LeBron James has some advantages I don't have. He was born 6'9", 270 with serious athleticism. I don't know. Like obviously you can make the argument. It's not great for the game. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth when the rich just keep getting richer. But like I said, I think at the core, I come back to as long as with most things in life, as long as the rules are clear and everybody's playing by the same rules, I think you just got to take the outcome as it comes.
Listen, it's if it was my team, I'd be super stoked that they're going out there, and I'm torn as well because I'm like, at one hand, I'm like, listen, they want to do what they got to do to win. That's what you want. You want your Steinbrenner types. You want to be that guy that's like, no matter what, we're gonna get the players try to make it win. But at the same time, my gosh, man, do you have to have everybody? That starting rotation is sick. Now Shohei's a little injured right now, and he may not pitch anymore this year, but he might be available for the playoffs. It's disgusting. And the deferred money, the amount that they're deferring over and over, like to like the billion of dollars. I get it. That's a rule. That's something you can do, and you don't
Hey,
want
we
to. You got
we
to
still
let them take
celebrate
advantage
Bobby
of it.
Bonilla Day. We still celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day every year.
Yeah, and that's one of those like, okay, that's disgusting. That's just it's silly. It's funny. It's cute. But man, when you're talking about that many players that are deferring that money in order to help it, smart, very smart. But golly,
I just think, and again, this is just a microcosm of other things, but I think in a nutshell, you can't get upset with somebody who is simply maximizing the system that they are told to play within. I think at the end of the day, if you have a problem with this setup, you got to change the rules. You can't complain about people who are just doing whatever they can to maximize, within those rules.
the talking heads out there said this all but assured the fact that we're going to be a lockout next year, that there will be no baseball next year. They're going to find a way to close this loophole. You can't be mad at the loophole. That's what they're there for. Nobody, that's a rule. You're not breaking any laws, but you got to figure out a way to close those loopholes. Much like Trump, when he was talking about Clinton, she said, your friends all use that loophole. I use that same tax loophole. If you don't like it, close it. And he's right. And it was the case with this. If you don't like how it is, change it. And I, for one, want to see it changed. And Scooble came in and played the Cubs like right after he got traded, and he ended up losing. And I think that he lost on purpose. I think the Dodgers now are like, hey, we got to lose some. We can't. Everybody's pissed off. Let's just lose a few in a row, and then let all this die down. And then when we get closer to the playoffs, we're gonna kick ass and take names and win 3 in a row. That's what they're doing, Greg. They're playing us like suckers.
You're not wrong, but there's, I was reminded of it here recently. As I can't believe I'm saying this, as I was watching co-ed softball. Ball don't lie, man. Karma's a real thing, and if this is as bad as everybody thinks it is, and all the fans bitching and moaning about this, then don't be surprised if the Dodgers don't end up winning it all. Like that happens. Sports are a unique and beautiful thing for that very reason. I know it's easy to get caught up in the moment and say this isn't fair. The Dodgers are too good. They just spend too much money. Nobody else can compete. Hey, look, those are all facts. But if you gave me odds right now, the Dodgers are the field at even money. I still take the field. Baseball's a funny game. And I just think, like you said, ball don't lie. And if this has a little bit of stink on it, karma and the good Lord have a way of making things work out. And don't be surprised if somebody sneaks up there, surprises the Dodgers in the playoffs. The next thing you know, it may be Tarek Skubal on the mound just trying to save their season. And that'd be a good story.
You don't want to wish for injuries, but I think that's our only chance. And I get it. You never take, you always bet the field if that's the case, except for when Tiger was in uh, his run he had there. Everybody was like, I still take Tiger. I don't even care if there's other choices. I'm going to take Tiger. But boy, that's a tough one. I don't even know what to say, Greg. I'm just upset. I saw Scooble in a Braves uniform. I got excited. I saw it in my head. I pictured it. I dreamed about it. I'd go to bed at night. I'd lay my head down. I'm like, Tarek. And it just happened. But the Braves, they didn't make any moves that surprised me or excited me anyways. I'm a little concerned why we got rid of Eli White. I like Eli White. He wasn't the biggest hitter, but we needed a guy that come in and run the bases and all that. I was upset by that.
Well, you and I've played enough ball too to know that on every team, you need players that know their role. And unfortunately, you got a lot of role players that don't understand that they're role players. And Eli White struck me as one of those guys that he knew where he fit in on that team. He was willing to just go out there, do whatever job he was asked to do on that night to try to help the team win. And I'm with you. Like those clubhouse guys that don't get a lot of shine and don't get a lot of recognition on Sports Center. Sometimes those are the guys that make a difference between, winning ball games and winning series because they're just willing to get in there and do the dirty work. And I'm with you. I kind of that for a guy who the first time I saw him in the lineup, I was like, I don't even recognize that name, and that says something because I follow the sport. But to now, I like you. I like the kid's game. I like the way he plays. He's just one of those that obviously not the most talented guy on the roster or in the league, but you get everything he's got every night, and I can respect that.
The Braves have been going on quite a run here lately. They've before the All-Star break and continued on after, they've showed out. And even Austin Riley is starting to heat up. Boy, Lord, if we can get Austin Riley on fire, we might be something. And Alex Anthopoulos better pray that the Braves continue this streak because he is not on the hot seat. I mean, let's don't get ridiculous, but there's a lot of people that were upset with the amount of or lack of moves that took place for the Braves that actually moved the needle. Uh, one being Tarek Skubal, and I think Jacob deGrom was waived his or put his no trade clause into effect, and that was one of the ones they said that was possibly on the list for us able to get. But Cuna's back. He had 2 out last night. One went off dude's head, pretty much, or glove. We're hoping something big happens with Anthopoulos is hoping that the Braves continue this run because he's not the most liked man right now.
No, and again, baseball because of the revenue sharing program and because of the collective bargaining agreement that they're currently operating under, you do have some market issues, and like I said, the Dodgers have a bigger budget and get to spend more money. I think the Braves fans as a whole, and you've kind of probably slide into the same line with me. I think it feels like for the last 30 years, we've just felt like we are always a really, really good team. Never can quite be that splashy, flashy, really hot team that for 3 to 5 years is just clearly the best team in baseball, like the Dodgers or the Yankees have been on a run. But and again, as the old man in the room and someone who's mentioned maybe I'm gaining a little bit of perspective, I can tell you when you look back at the last 25 or 30 years as a Braves fan, boy, it'd be hard to complain about much of anything, including the last few years of tenure under Double A. Man, it's other than the year I bought A-list chop house tickets, it's been a pretty good run for the Bravos.
It has. You wish we had more championships. 2 championships is not quite what you want, but we had a lot of division championships and team of the 90s for sure. I tell you what I don't want to see is Hassam Kim up at shortstop. I like Jarvis. I enjoy watching him play. His bat's starting to slowly come around, but the kid plays hard, plays tough. If we're going to have a guy up there that's not hitting the ball, it might as well be Jarvis instead of damn Hassam Kim. I'm upset with Hassam. Murphy's back. He better do something too, damn it. He better make something
He'll be
happen.
hurt by the weekend.
It ain't going to last long. We get traded Joey Bart, but we got back somebody else. I forget, but upsetting. But how can I be upset when we're in first place? So that's silly of me to say that. Speaking of first place, far from first place, but was at first place for a brief minute, was Bijan Robinson signed a contract extension. He was the top paid running back in NFL history for about 48 hours. He signed on 3-year extension for, what did he get paid? Up to $75 million, $51 million guaranteed for Bijan Robinson, and very deservingly so. Running backs, I have no problem with running backs holding out and getting their paper because they could literally be gone the next day and they only have a short career. So get your paper, Bijan. Bijan with the contract, Greg. What do you think of that?
I think I'm like you. Running back is finally starting to get a little love. We went through a couple of decades there where running backs just got no shine, no love, no high draft picks, no good contracts. They just felt like they were just replaceable. But I think Bijan probably the one of, if not the most complete, most exciting back in the league. When you watch NFL football, you are watching some of the greatest athletes on the planet. And when you watch Bijan, you can see that cat moves just a little bit different than the rest of them. He's just even on a different level than the greatest athletes in the planet. It like he's one of those guys, and I don't know if it even makes sense, but man, you watch him, and it sometimes looks like he's running and his feet don't even touch the ground. Like he's making cuts before he ever lands from the last cut. He's full speed and half a step. Dude is absolutely a pleasure to watch. I'm glad he's in Atlanta. I wish they could put a decent team around him, but Congrats to Bijan, get that money, and I hope he has a good year. Bijan is one of my favorite players to watch in the NFL.
Most exciting player for the Falcons since Vic, I think, without question. I don't even think there's Drake London is slowly starting to come around, and there's no knock on Drake London. But when it comes to excitement, game changer type mentality, Vic was that guy, and I think Bijan is that guy. And overall, a phenomenal cat. Like we'd go up to the training camps like when his last year or whatnot. He'd be out there signing, just as nice, as happy. Looked like he was happy to be playing ball. My friend Matt the other day just posted a picture with him as well. Just a nice guy. This was after he got paid, so he could easily be a jerk like Kyle Pitts. Don't think I forget Kyle. Time we came, you didn't want to sign nothing, you sob. Well, I
What
didn't
do you
like you.
expect
You
out of a
lack
Gator?
attitude. Exactly, Greg. You want to hear some horrible story?
Always.
We're doing Buford baseball again this year in the fall for my youngest and my oldest because obviously my middle boy can't play because he's got a broke kneecap. But they went with last year they did minor league teams. Year for that they did throwback teams, whatever. This year they did college teams. Now let me just tell you what would be the worst case scenario for your youngest kid to get a college team. Yes, Greg, that's it. The Florida effing Gators is what we got. And I'd be damned if I will put any orange on my body. Okay. I will cheer my kid on, but I will not be wearing orange. There will not be any spirit wear bought for that team. I damn sure can guarantee you that.
This sounds like an egregious hyperbolic statement, but those that know me well know that this is 100% true. David, we need to be playing in a lewd league, or my kid would be taking a year off.
I'm telling you, it is
I wouldn't do it. I would
disturbing.
not. I will not do anything that supports something called the Florida Gators under
It
any
is
circumstances.
disturbing. If I see one chomp, I'm going to lose my ass. Okay. But I broke my heart. I was like, I debated it. Greg. I was like, is there any way I
If
can get my money back?
if the University of Florida came out and supported Donald Trump and the Conservative Party, I would likely start reconsidering what side I'm on.
Well, that's foolish, and yet I believe it. I believe that would be the case. But that broke my heart. But Kyle Pitts, I'm just not a big fan. Maybe he came around a little bit last year. Maybe he'll show out this year, but doesn't seem like the cat I'd want to hang out with. But
Tell your boys Uncle Greg hopes they don't win a damn game.
I know it's. But we had practice last night. You may not have to wish too hard. You may not. It's going back to rec ball for my youngest is going to be a fun transition, shall we say? Bijan Robinson was I believe it was the highest paid at the time running back in history, and that got eclipsed some 48 hours later by Jamar Gibbs for Detroit Lions 3 years, up to 75 and $750,000 for a running back. That's an insane amount of money. 51.5 million guaranteed. Kudos to all these running backs getting paid. They deserve it. That's a lot of work.
It is, man, and it's just astronomical figures. It's just hard to even process those kind of numbers. And I feel like we talk about it all the time, but man, it's just, we've been dealing with these massive contracts in pro sports for a couple of decades now. And it's still it's hard to normalize. It's hard to conceptualize that kind of money to go out there and play a game. And I don't knock the amount of work. I know most pro athletes put in far more hours than you or I do at their profession. Their profession's a damn game, man. It's fun. I've always told people I think God created me and put me on this earth to have been a high school baseball coach. I can see myself at 8 p.m. at night hitting fungo to the kids and just loving that life, but I didn't want to not make any money my whole life, so I went a different direction. I could have played baseball, basketball, golf, or that, for $250,000 a year, thought I was the luckiest player or luckiest guy in the world. So I don't know. I'm with you. Kudos to Bijan, kudos to Jamar Gibbs and all these guys getting paid as pro athletes, but man, that's part of it doesn't make it wonder if we don't. It's not just another example of how shifted our priorities are from what's really important.
It is shocking how much some of these athletes make. Baseball blows my mind with some of the numbers that are thrown out. Basketball has just gotten sick. You're talking 50, 60 million a season. I'm like, what in the world? Football almost not that I agree with they should get paid that amount of money for, like you said, playing a game. But you know what you don't hear? in baseball, you hear a guy like, oh, Lefty Johnson made it to 98 years old. He played 40 years. You don't hear football players, especially nowadays, making it to an old age because you're literally in a car wreck every time and your brain is getting scrambled every single play for the most part.
Well, the other part of that is, and you got to be real careful when you're throwing around those big numbers with football contracts too. Is NFL contracts ain't guaranteed. You can
No.
get cut, so that guaranteed money that up front is what matters. But some of these big numbers, some of these cats ain't ever gonna see half that money because they're gonna get a year and a half into this contract at the low rate and get cut before the elevated balloon payments down the road. So it's just like you can make numbers lie, but like I said, the guaranteed money for especially for running backs, that can be a short shelf life. But I'm with you. If any pro athletes deserve the money, it's football players because of the fact that their contracts aren't guaranteed, and because, like you said, they have the highest propensity to have that career ended on any given play.
That's why that second number that they post, which is that guaranteed money, is the most important one, which is shocking what Deshaun Watson got as far as guaranteed money was like that took it to the next level. He not only and that's proof that you shouldn't do that because he tore his Achilles right after that, and they drafted like 9 quarterbacks, it seems. So, but Deshaun Watson apparently back now and doing well
Yeah,
in training
just
camp.
as a word of warning, when we come up to renegotiate our contracts, I'm going for that guaranteed money. I ain't gonna let you defer
Guaranteed
those shit
money.
this time.
Guaranteed money is what we're looking for, Greg. That was a big deal with the WWF and WWE or WCW. That's for another show. But we won't get into that. Greg, let's make it a fun Friday. We've done it so far just playing sports. Before we get out of here, so you can get an early start on your birthday celebration. What are we eating tonight, by the way? You got dinner plans or what's the deal?
I have no idea, man. This is actually, and I hate to admit this is the first birthday I can remember in a long while. And I've obviously been quite blessed, but this is the first birthday I'm actually having to work a little bit. I'm actually having to get some reports done and do a little bit of my consulting gig and get some work done. So I hadn't even thought about dinner. I don't know what Haley's got planned for later on this evening.
Well. If she's planning certain things, you better pop an old pill there. She's a young one. You might want to try to keep up.
Uh, I can't keep up, but I don't need no pills for that.
What beach are we going to? Back to Destin?
We are going down. I'm a blessed man. My uncle's got a condo down there, and it just so happens that he and my aunt were going to be down there anyway. So he said we could come down there and crash their little shindig for a few days. So yeah, we're going after we move Bailey in to her dorm on Sunday. We're gonna cruise on down to the beach in Destin and spend the week down there, just chilling and hanging out. I obviously won't be playing any golf with a bum shoulder, but I might sit on the beach and enjoy looking at my wife in the bikini for a few days.
Well, we'll get you to that beach and to that said wife in a bikini as soon as possible. So we'll end it on this one, Greg. If you have the weekend you have to watch one person's movies for that whole weekend. And if it was between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, which way are you going? Which movies and shows, we'll add shows to the mix, would you watch if it was between Arnold and Sly?
You gave me a little heads up on this, so I had a little time to kind of digest this before you sprung it on me now. And as I thought about it, and I'm gonna tell you, it's a great question. It kind of gets you thinking. You and I are in the same generation. Loved both of those guys growing up. Huge action
100.
stars.
100.
For 4 or 5 years, Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando was probably one of my favorite movies. I probably watched that movie 2 or 3 times a month back in the day. But if I
Young
think
Alyssa
really
Milano.
about I think it's Sylvester Stallone, and I don't even think it's close as far
Not
as
even.
a historical record of the films he's produced. You give me the Rambos, the Rockies. I think Sylvester Stallone's, his book of work supersedes Arnold's tremendously. I don't think it's a close thing, but they are very much lumped together as far as comparative actors, same generation, same style. And I love Arnold. Like both of them are tremendous success stories from where they came from. You hate to have to take either one over the other. But if you're simply talking about it from a quality of work put on film, I think it's Stallone, and I don't think it's debatable.
I want to be on the other side of this so we can have a, opinion on both sides, but I 1000% agree. And I'm with you. It's not even close. Not even close in my eyes. You take Rocky alone. And I don't know.
If
I'll take it Rocky over and over. Go
help
ahead.
me out here, and I don't want to undersell Arnold or cut Arnold short. I'm a big fan of Arnold, but when you really think about his catalog of movies, what has he done that was really that you would say is really a good film?
True Lies. That's it. That's the list. To me, there's no other movie that hit that I could watch over and over. I've watched Pump and Iron over and over, the documentary, but I know him more from
Speaking of which, have you got your
bodybuilding.
levels tested?
No, it's coming up 24th. I'm hoping. I can't wait to get it. I'm getting impatient. I mean, you can't just sign up now and just go. You gotta, unless you want to go to one of these places, which I should have just did that, but now I gotta wait for the doctor. But Pump and Iron is one of those. But True Lies with Jamie Lee Curtis and that scene where she's dancing. Kudos, she was getting it done back then. Great movie, phenomenal movie, and I enjoyed somewhat Terminator, but it didn't change. I wouldn't go back and watch it now. But Sylvester Stallone, it's not even close. You take Rocky just by itself, and I'm in already just for my love of Rocky. Throw Rambo in the mix. You
I
throw
mean, and again, you and I are partial because of the generation and the time frame. You go back, Rocky 2, 3, and 4, man, that was a strong,
can't
strong
beat it.
series there for a few years coming out to
Can't
keep,
beat it.
to keep what is relatively a simple storyline as a boxer. I mean, there's not a whole lot of, weird things happening in a boxing ring. But, and again, when you go back and I think they're releasing a documentary on Stallone and kind of how he became Rocky,
Like
I
a
think it'll be
biopic.
spectacular. I think it's a phenomenal story. I think, again, for a guy like Stallone, who, let's be real, out in Hollywood, he's not your typical good looking, smooth talking guy. For him to have had the success he had in that industry, kudos to him, and hard work, dedication, and I guess he's a lot smarter than he looks and sounds. But no, it's give me Rambo, give me Rocky, give me Stallone over Arnold all day, every day.
You mentioned the new movie coming out. It's called I Play Rocky, and it's the story of how Rocky was being made and how he refused to sell it without being a part of it and all that. And they had the guy that plays him sounds just like him, but he almost sounds as if he's a guy that's doing a Rocky voice to the extreme. There's like they said, hey, crank it up to what we parody Rocky's voice be. And he's like, hey, yo, I play Rocky. Like, it's just, I can't even do it without getting it. But I'm excited about that. That's the first movie I'm excited about. This came out in quite a while. I want to see that. I love the whole story behind Rocky. I love everything about Rocky. I have Rocky posters in my kids' rooms. The Life Ain't All Sunshine and Rainbows when he was Rocky Balboa. That whole speech is in the bathroom of the boys right now. Everything about it I love. That doesn't include Rambo. Rambo I love as well. First Blood is the best one by far, but Rambo's are fantastic too.
I still think Rocky's got one of the all-time life quotes. It ain't about how hard you can hit; it's about how hard you can get hit and still keep
and
getting.
keep moving forward. That's what winning's about.
That's it,
And
brother.
cowards do that, and that ain't you. Man, it's so great. So I mean, there's so many quotable lines of it. There is no
And,
tomorrow. Apollo
and
Creed, come on, man.
what's Arnold got? Arnold's got "I'll be back."
Yeah, I don't want to feel as if we're throwing shade at Arnold because I'm with you. I love Arnold and his great stuff, but Sylvester Stallone, there's no over the top. Everybody makes fun of. Love it. I love that movie. Meet me halfway. Sing it, Kenny. Kenny Loggins singing "Meet Me Halfway" when he's out there working out doing like curls on the damn truck with his kid. Come on, man. He's in there doing the little exercise thing that he concocted in his cab of his truck. Man, it's like a switch, Greg, when he turns it around. You know how many times I got in arm wrestling? I was doing this before we even started. Come on,
I
man.
can only imagine.
It's insane. Cobra, also pretty good movie. Copland, if you want to get in a drama movie, great one. Good movie. Show wise, I know Arnold has Fubar, which I haven't watched on Netflix, but
It's good, but it's and look, let's be real. Neither of those guys had a whole lot of range as far as acting. They pretty much played one character and that was it. Fubar is exactly what you would expect. It's Arnold in an action show instead of a movie. But it's pretty good as far as shows go. I watched it.
Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone on Paramount. I love that show. A great freaking show. Filmed locally around here a lot of times, and they actually filmed the scene. I think I sent you a screenshot. They were at Fincher's Barbecue, Macon. To me, it's a historical place in Macon because that's where me and my wife used to go all the time when we lived down there, and her family's been going there for several years. I love Fincher's. Tulsa King is a great show. A fantastic Taylor Sheridan show on Paramount Plus. If you ain't watching it, I recommend it. But to me, like you said, there's no close second.
Yeah, I went to high school with the Finchers. We'll have to tag them when we release this episode. Jake and Doug. I went to high school with them.
Well, they make some damn good barbecue. First barbecue in space, I believe, if I remember correctly from the sign. Went up.
Well, yeah, I can tell you, I'm not necessarily proud to be from Macon, Georgia, but Macon, Georgia folks are proud of the Finchers. That's like you said, that's a historic staple from Macon, Georgia.
Supposedly, my wife, when my mother-in-law was pregnant with my wife, she craved Fincher's barbecue a lot, and they already went a lot, but they would go like once or twice a week. And when Brooke was actually born, the first stop they made before they went home, I believe, was to Fincher's, to the old ladies that were watched her come in every day. So one of my wife's first places that she visited was Fincher's when she was the itty bitty baby, and we were coming back through Macon through Florida one time, and when Lawton was pretty young, really young, we went to Fincher's and had some barbecue there. And I believe, we ran into your ex-wife there as we met up and got pictures with her, and that was at Fincher's Barbecue. So one of my wife's first places she ever went, one of Lawton's first places ever went was Fincher's Barbecue. So big Fincher's Barbecue fan. Not sure
Good
why we
people
got
too. The Finchers are a great family. Good people.
That's love to hear it. That makes it even easier. Location now. Yeah, better get ready. Might want to get strapped. Want to get there early. Don't be going to go pick up no late night dinner there. Just be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, and all that was before they got us shout out on our show.
Yeah, it's gonna be super packed.
They may need to restaff now. They go get flooded.
Well, take a wrong turn down there. You better reload. You better not restaff. You better reload. It is Macon. But that's it. We're going to end this one short-ish, but I'm excited to be back. I'm pumped for summer being over. We can do this more consistently. Wanted to make this one a fun Friday, not get too political because Lord knows there's a lot we can get into. But come Monday, might get back into some politics if Greg's able to find time at the beach. But Greg, however many years it's been, it feels like it's been 100 years. But all these birthdays we've been together, but yet separate. When we get on the phone and we talk, it's as if nothing's ever changed. So I got to say to you, my friend, happiest of birthdays. I've enjoyed our friendship, and I'm grateful that you chose me to continue doing this podcast with.
Well, thank you, my brother. I will admit that, when I was doing my show this morning, I debated on whether or not singling anybody out and mentioning any names as I was reflecting, because, you hate to start a list because you're obviously going to leave people off that are important. But you made the cut. You got name dropped. You got mentioned, because like I said, for however grandiose and ridiculous it sounds, I know who I am. I know my limitations, but God has placed something in my heart to make me feel like I want to get out there and put stuff like this out there into the world and try to do something good. And I'll tell you unequivocally, I know myself and I know myself well. I would not be doing this if you hadn't agreed to help me get started. So for whatever good I might be able to put out in the world by doing my show every day, I owe a lot of that to you. And the time and the distance over the years has never seemed like it mattered. I always just felt like you and I had a unique connection. We understood each other. And I'm grateful that we now get a chance to get on here and just have some random conversations and let other people listen in to what it sounds like just to have a couple of friends cutting up and shooting the shit.
Well, I loved hearing your faith make a big comeback in your life, and it has been a motivational factor for me. And speaking of that, before we leave, Greg, leave us with a good word, my friend.
All right, guys, this is how I sign off every show here and every show that I do every day. Get in your Bible, say your prayers, love one another, and tell the truth. God bless.
Happy birthday, Gregory.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Love y'all.